What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with some thoughts and opinions on this EP from Rashaann called No Previews. Rashaann is a rapper who's from Harlem, New York, but currently residing in Atlanta. And if you want to find out more about him, you already know you can take a look at the information box right underneath this video. But first of all, we are going to start off with the positives, my 3 favorite songs. So at number 1, we have From the Heart. This is a feel-good track that has some soulful production on it, so I like the overall sound. And I think that works well with Rashaann's content, because he's on here just encouraging people to be grateful for who they are and what they have. You got to appreciate the messages that he's bringing throughout this project, because he really is quite positive. Now, he doesn't get overly inventive with his flows on this track or throughout the album, although there are some moments where you will hear him rapping with some pretty nice rhyme schemes. I actually think Random Thoughts, the bonus track on the end, had some of his best bars. He really does work a lot of different styles, especially on the end of that track where he lets his flow go a bit more free. So there are instances on here where you can appreciate him as a rapper. I also think he has a pretty bright vocal performance as well when he's spitting, so that's something that is also a plus. Now, another plus would be the songwriting on some of these tracks, because he does get into storytelling throughout here. On the track Little Brother, Big Brother, this is one that really just grabbed my attention because it's all about how his mother kicked his big brother out of the house for dealing drugs. Still, as a little brother, he looked up to him. I think a lot of people will be able to relate to that, because sometimes when you look up to someone, you're not really able to see the negative things that they're doing. And he also speaks on how the passing of his father may have contributed to his brother making some of these bad decisions. Really is a powerful dynamic at play here with this track. And my last favorite track, I already listed From the Heart and Little Brother, Big Brother is 2 of my favorites. Random Thoughts is also up there. But my last one would be Broke Nigga. I really like the piano and vocal samples on this. It's kind of a bright and bouncy one, but you do get some pretty bland flows in spots, like when he's doing that shit where he puts nigga at the end of every bar. It's not all out awful, but I just find that gets kind of redundant when rappers do that too much, and this was one of those instances. In spite of that, I still like this one because he brings a bit of humor to it, just has a light fun feel to it, and he also speaks on this culture of kids blowing money and flexing on Instagram. We see it all the time, not just with rappers, but with young people coming up, where they're not always presenting themselves as who they really are, and they're just trying to stun on people. So again, you are getting some messages throughout this project, and those messages, the songwriting and content and rapping and spots, are certainly some positives here. So there's some things here that are worth checking out. But the main weakness with this album is that there really is a lack of an original, unique sound. He doesn't really set himself apart in any type of way. You're getting some pretty typical flows, as I mentioned, and the beats aren't overly inventive. But even still, you are going to hear some nice things on here, as I've spoken on. But coming back to this issue of not being unique and overly creative, it's very clear that he doesn't care about that too much, because on the song No Previews Part 2, he says that he doesn't care about tags or downloading beats off of YouTube. Now that's not a big deal, because a lot of rappers do that, and it's your choice if that's what you want to do. But some of these beats really did sound familiar to me as I was listening through, and it's probably because of all the indie underground projects I've reviewed. I've reviewed hundreds of them, so I think I've heard some of these beats before, and that's something that does take away from your project. You're not having an original sound when you're getting on beats that all kinds of other people are. It also helps when you have a producer you work with who tailors beats to your specific sound. So moving forward, I think that's something that he could work with if he really wants to improve his music quickly and easily. So the other thing I got to point out is some of the production on here that I like. I like the Diana Ross sample on Promise, and then on Pray for This, we get some more of that bouncy piano production. But even still, some of these beats sound familiar, like I said, so I would like to hear him just step it up a notch. Maybe work with some other artists and get some really original ones so he can craft a song that's a bit more unique and creative. I said that a couple times. Unique, creative, original. These things all go together, and that's what's missing from this project. So at the end of the day, I'm going to go with a light 3 out of 5 here. Thought about a 2.5 because it's pretty average, but I went with a 3 because there are some positives that I've already spoken on. I think he's a half-decent rapper. He's not really anything too crazy with the flows and schemes, but he sounds good, and he brings some nice songwriting and content. And even though those beats aren't original, at least he picked some good ones. You know what I'm saying? You're getting some nice sample work throughout here. And me personally, I like that sound. So if you do, I think you'll appreciate that. So there you go, man. If he can just be a bit more creative and maybe find some way to bring in some type of X factor that sets him apart, it will really go a long ways in making his next project better. But even still, man, this is pretty good. It's worth checking out. I enjoyed my listen, and there you have it. That's all I got to say, man. You know what to do now. Hit me up on all my social media sites so you can show me love and show me lots of it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a nice day, and I will see you next time.